In today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 rules that have revolutionized my life and the way I approach things that I'm scared of. It helps me take courage to get the things done that I know I need to get done. So today I'm going to introduce you to the 3-second rule, the 5-minute rule, and also the 1-week rule. So let me begin with the 3-second rule. 3 seconds of courage. Maybe you've heard 5 seconds of courage or 10 seconds of courage. For me, it's 3 seconds because I count down 3, 2, 1. And what I need to do after that is take on the thing that I'm scared of. So what that means is beginning to say something, to initiate a tough conversation, to ask somebody to go to church, to, maybe it was, maybe for you, it's asking somebody out on a date or, admitting a sin, confessing something, asking for forgiveness, something that you're scared of doing. Usually it's something that you're scared of saying, that you're just, okay, I got it. I need to do this, but I need to just build up that courage. And so this idea of 3 seconds of courage is just saying to yourself, okay, 3, and anytime you start counting, you need to commit yourself to doing it. You need to commit yourself to doing it, because if you go back on it, then it won't be effective, right? If all of a sudden you can get out of it, no, this is what the rule is for. All of a sudden, you need to say something, you need to do something. You say 3, 2, 1, and you have to say it, and you have to make that injection in the conversation, or you need to bring this up, or you need to, hey, okay, would you like to come to church with me? Or you need to share the gospel with that person. 3 seconds of courage. That's all it takes. And by implementing this into my life personally, a lot of awesome things have happened. I've invited some people to church that have kept coming back, and they become my close friends. I've initiated important conversations that otherwise they wouldn't have happened, or I wouldn't have brought them up. And in so doing, they brought deeper connection, deeper intimacy into a lot of my relationships. Repenting of something or asking for forgiveness, it's brought good clarity and just a clean conscience to have that 3 seconds of courage, and also humility, really. Courage to be humble, to free myself up of those things, to just confess them, to get it off my chest, even though it's scary, even though it's something that I'm fearful about. I have this rule: 3, 2, 1. I need to admit it. I need to say it. I remember one experience. I was 11 years old, and I was struggling with just watching stuff online that was not good. It was just really kind of fueled by my lust at that point. I didn't really know how to navigate that. That was pretty new for me, but I knew I needed to admit it. And so I told myself, okay, I need to say something to my dad. It was late at night, so I got up and I walked to my parents' bedroom, and I knocked on the door, and I said, I walked in, and my dad was like, what's up? What's going on? And in that moment, I just remember, okay, you just need to say something. You just need to say it. And so in that moment, I kind of utilized the 3 seconds of courage without knowing it, where I was just like, Dad, I need to talk to you. And from then on, the conversation became a lot easier because I opened it up in that way. So that's the 3-second rule. I hope you guys utilize that in your own life as well. So the 5-minute rule, the 5-minute rule is a little bit different. So what I have noticed in my life is that I can get stuck in procrastination, and that's generally fueled by perfectionism. I can leave certain things that maybe it's writing a script for a video. I just don't have any ideas, or I feel like it's not good enough. So I step away from it, and that's okay. But then maybe I don't come back to it. And the 5-minute rule is to basically say, whatever you're scared of, whatever that thing is that you need to do, whether that's sending an email or applying for a job, where it's going to take a little bit more time, a little bit more commitment. It can't just be the 3-second rule, because what are you going to do in 3 seconds? Nothing, right? So you need to be this 5-minute rule, where you're going to say, okay, I'm going to sit down for 5 minutes and write out this script, or I'm going to write out this email, or I'm going to apply for this job, or, I'm going to establish a new habit. One of the things I recommend to people that are struggling to get in the Word of God, to read the Bible consistently, is to just say 5 minutes. Begin with 5 minutes. This is part of the 5-minute rule, because if you can get in the door for at least 5 minutes, if you can convince yourself that that is a achievable and maintainable habit in your life, then who knows what you could do, right? The 5-minute rule is basically to say, give me 5 minutes and see how you're feeling after that, right? Is to say, it's almost to treat yourself like a little child in a way, for a 5-year-old. Maybe they're at they don't want to eat anything. And you're like, okay, just sit at the dining room table for 5 minutes, eat some food, and see how you're feeling. And then as they're eating food, they're sitting there for 5 minutes, they're eating more, and they're content with what's going on because they've taken that first step, right? And I think we kind of need to treat ourselves like little kids in that way, where we're like, okay, I know you're not feeling this right now. I know you don't want to do this. I know there's some sort of anxiety or worry in your heart about this certain thing, or maybe you just feel lazy. Okay, take this 5 minutes. 5 minutes, that's all it takes. and do it and just begin. And that's my encouragement for you guys. If there's something you've been avoiding that you know you should do, okay, take 5 minutes and see what happens. See how you're feeling after that 5 minutes of just really commit yourself to it. And what I found is sometimes I'm scared of sending an email to somebody, or I need to reply and something I'm anxious about maybe, and just spending 5 minutes and working on it, you get that big chunk done. Maybe it's not even a big chunk, but that just beginning chunk. And you're like, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can keep going. And you get in the flow state eventually. And that's really encouraging. The last rule I'm going to share with you today is the 1 week rule. And this is something that absolutely is so important. One of the things that I find really perplexing is people come up to me when I tell them that I'm a YouTuber, and they say, oh, I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, or I've always wanted to do social media, but I've just never done it. Or maybe I'm kind of working until I get to the next stage of my life, or waiting till I have more ideas, or I have the right equipment, or something like that. And there's no real plan involved. For me, one of the things that has been so important in my life is if I've had an idea for a week or so, I'm going to act on that idea. Like if I have one example of this is this YouTube channel. I had this idea for no more than a week. Yes, I'd been thinking a lot about manhood and a lot about, wanting to minister to men in a particular way. But at the same time, the idea of making a specific YouTube channel for that wasn't really in my mind until it was. And then no more than a week later, I was like, okay, let me start the YouTube channel. Let me make my first video. Let me not delay on this. Because if I just kind of an idea in my mind, here's what's going to happen. Okay, here's the truth of it. If you have ideas in your head and they stick around and you never act on them, it's always in your back of your mind like, this could be my thing, or this is going to be a future thing. And it kind of acts as like a safety blanket where you're not trying that idea, but it's there. You're like, one day I'm going to do that and everything's going to be okay. But the truth is maybe that idea won't even work out and you don't even know. And so my thought is, hey, if you've had an idea and it's been kind of banging around your head for a week or so, try it out. Take the beginning stages. And if it doesn't work out, then okay, then you can move on to the next idea. But if you never act on it, you never know if it's going to work or if it's not going to work. Maybe it could work, but you've never, because you make all these excuses about why it's not going to work or why I need to wait on it. And so you never act on it. One of the things, another thing that I did as kind of a part of this rule was creating a young adults fellowship group after high school. It was an idea that I had for no more than a week. And I was like, okay, let me start up this thing. I made a website, made a Facebook page, invited all my friends that I already knew and invited them to invite their friends too, and set up monthly meetings and hangouts and games nights and all sorts of things like that. And that went on for a few years. And I could have said, oh, I should wait till I have a bigger network of people, so then there'd be more people that would show up, or I should wait till I move out so I can have them at my place instead of my parents' place. But I didn't want that to be that way because I didn't even know if this would work. So I'm like, hey, let me see if this, even the base level idea of this is going to work. And maybe and if it does, like, that's awesome. Some things don't work out. Me and my younger brother, we started kind of a branch like off of the ministry called Redeem 180. And it was all about helping people navigate social media from a biblical worldview, helping them create content themselves as well, and just navigating how you can best utilize your time on social media for the glory of God. And it's a great concept. I still love it. But just based on life circumstances and what we were doing, we had to pack it up after a few months. And we just said, hey, we mutually came to the conclusion, like, this is not going to be something that we're going to pursue long term. But if we never enacted that idea, because we both had that idea and we talked about it and we were excited about it, if we were like, okay, one day we'll do this, then we're not leaving more rooms for other ideas, right? You're letting this kind of take the place of in your idea holder, in for lack of a better term. But then when you do it, and we did it, and then you kind of like, okay, this has run its course and it ends. Now you have room for new ideas and new exciting opportunities. And so that's what I want you guys to be invited into, is not to have this idea taking up your idea shelf for 10 years because you're like, one day I'm going to create this very particular kind of YouTube channel. No, just do it now. See if it works. See if it's something that you enjoy. And if it's not, then a new idea can come and sit there and be something you're interested in. So that's the 1 week rule. If you're thinking about it for more than 1 week, then you need to do it. Let me know if you guys try out these time rules in the comments down below, because I would love to hear from you if they're helpful for you. And if you want to join the Brotherhood, subscribe, because I'm putting out new videos every single week. If you want to support what I'm doing here, you can either become a channel member or join the Patreon as well. You can do either one of those things and get access to the Discord on there. Until next time, keep pursuing the mission.